you're coming from TikTok or Twitch, you can call me Ferris. If you know me in real life, then keep it to yourself. If I haven't changed the channel name, then you'll know my name is Ashton. And this is a little out of the ordinary for what I'd normally do, but I've been wanting to make like videos like this for a while. It's a majority of the stuff I watch, you know? And well, tonight it was either I streamed some Blade and Sorcery, or I finally do something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I figured, hey, might as well try, right? So, you read the title. You know this is going to be kind of serious, kind of Debbie Downer, you know? And you get one chance to leave. That's right now. Because you're not allowed to leave in the middle of the video. That's like the rule. I didn't make it up, but it is the rule. You know, the ATF will be outside immediately, that fast. You leave the video, knock on your door, bang, there goes your dog. I'm going to try to keep my jokes to a minimum, even though I make a lot of jokes. It's what I do, you know? But anyways, that was your chance. And, well, today I'm going to talk about the romanticization of suicide in modern culture. Even though I guess that's a bit of a lying title. Before we start, I'd like to give my credentials first. My name is Ashton. I am an author with no released work yet, so I'm a guy who says he's an author and is technically one. I'm an amateur voice actor. I'm a streamer. I'm a YouTuber, also, by technicality, because, let's be honest here, I got like 10 followers on YouTube and only 250 on Twitch, which is nothing, drop in the water. I'm also someone who has attempted suicide twice. After 2 failed tries, figured nope, that's a joke. Now I'm going to finish it. I figured I'd, hang the hat up. That career just wasn't And one more thing before we start. I wouldn't say... I guess we can get there when we get there. I wouldn't say that most modern culture encourages suicide. That'd be a hard point to argue, honestly. Okay, so I have a good 3-step plan for you. I'm going to cover the origins, to the best of my knowledge, the modern implications, and the effects. So, I'm going to start somewhere a little weird. You can't just start off romanticizing suicide. You got to romanticize death first, which people have done forever. Romantics, the actual dudes, they did it all the time. People during the, I believe it was Victorian era, really romanticized tuberculosis itself. Because it's like this slow wasting away death that makes you frail and pale and skinny as you cough up blood and die. And there's been stories forever about it. A big one, I think, is Christianity, Christ. What's more righteous than that death in culture, you know? That's as righteous as it gets. He died for other people. And then all of his apostles died as martyrs. Martyrdom became a huge part of ancient culture. Like those that they become saints. They're people worth putting in a church, you know? And another culture that did this was Japan. Except theirs was literally a suicide. I think Japan's been on this train a lot longer than we have because we built up to this problem. Japan's just had this problem, you know? With I'm using a lot of filler words. I'm going to stop and slow down. How am I forgetting the word right now? Seppuku. With the act of seppuku, you can make up for lost honor. You've done something bad. You've brought shame to your family name. Stab yourself in the stomach and have a guy almost completely cut your head off. It's that simple. But I don't know if that bled into like America, which is the perspective I have to come from. And then with romantics and Christianity, this idea of righteous death slowly changed over time. A lot of it was just in war. War is a righteous death. You're dying for something you believe in. And then stories took up a similar view of death, making it that there is good death, excluding the one fighting. Like, this is a classic. A certain person is infested with a demon in like a movie. And that demon hurts some people throughout the film. And then the person realizes, oh, I'm the issue. It's haunting me. And then they kill themselves to help their friends. Like in Lights Out, the mom does that. Great movie. If I spoiled it for you, it's your fault. It's like 8 years old. 2016. I think it is 8 years old. I might be right on the money with that. And then there's more modern influences. Something I see a lot, and something I used to cling to as a kid because I wanted to be cool, because I sucked. It's the tortured artist. The idea of the tortured artist has been around forever. Like Vincent van Gogh, the most tortured artist you can think of. Unless you have like one of those dudes who went through like really, really bad stuff and it's like ridiculous. But Vincent van Gogh, or Goth, I don't know, people say it one way or the other, was a Dutch painter who suffered from major depression, who killed himself. There's a whole thing about that. And then his art got good. Something about an artist killing themselves makes people appreciate their art more. Like Ernest Hemingway, someone I'm trying to emulate, except for cheating on my wife and drinking a lot and shooting myself with a shotgun. I'm just trying to write a lot of books, I guess, and good ones. But Ernest Hemingway kills himself, and I feel like once you do that as an artist, suddenly your work is worth a lot. Suddenly it's worth something. And something that pushes that a lot, or used to when it was popular, was Tumblr. The mental health people who would in a way, embellish the idea of suicide or self harm and depression. They would make it up to seem like they're the hero in some terrible story and that this is the only option to win, or that they have to do it. It's the only way. And that, once Tumblr collapsed from the inside, and those people went to other websites, I think that's where this notion that I was shown really came from. It's that it's good to be sad, because that means that your life is hard, and only people who live difficult lives deserve opinions. Though that train of thought has gotten really political recently, because people are starting to debate if certain types of people can even have hard lives. But that idea floated around for a while, and everyone knows this. The internet is a funnel, and everything comes to a head somewhere. Like, are you a fan of sci-fi? You like Star Trek, Star Wars? What was the other ones? I had another one. StarCraft, anything like that. You go down the funnel, the rabbit hole, you always end up at Warhammer. Every time. Everything involving art, normally, well, when I was on it a long time ago, and this is where I get this awful notion in my head, it funnels down to the tortured artists, the ones that talk about how people don't know what it's like to struggle. And when you get there and you're a young kid, and maybe you're a little weird in the head like I was, that can permanently change the way you view yourself. Though that's not the only thing that hurt me. Another site, and I can't remember it right now because I saw it in a video by another guy, and I will definitely put it, this video right here, this one. I'd watch it. It's interesting. That's a special case though. But I also want to talk about the modern brevity which suicide is taken with. Now, you might not know what I'm talking about, because if someone kills themselves, it's like, you know, everyone freaks out. As they should. People dying is not good, I think. I know. Very strong opinions on this channel, alright? But it's... For all my gamers out there, I would assume you've played a competitive game. And in this competitive game, you've likely told someone to kill themselves. I've done it. I've gotten banned for it. And then I did it again. Because you don't just do it once, you do it a bunch of times. You do it many a time, alright? And we say it, and maybe you don't really mean it. You probably don't really mean it. Statistically, you don't really mean it. But some people do mean it. And when you hear someone say kill themselves, it's the same as hearing, or kill yourself. It's the same as hearing someone say, you suck. You're annoying. And it's weird how that is just accepted. It's just a common phrase. KYS, keep yourself safe. It's okay to say. And I don't think that's entirely like people thinking suicide's okay or telling someone to commit suicide is okay. I think it has to do, and maybe I'll make a video about this another time, with the increasing what's the word? The increasing presence of existentialism, where life is meaningless and ridiculous. So I'm gonna make jokes about it. Is something behind me? I might just be schizophrenic. even that, even that. It's schizophrenia is a very serious problem that a lot of people have. But when I say that, no one's like, "Oh, you shouldn't make jokes about schizophrenia." Everyone's like, "Oh, he just means I might be a little crazy." But that's not what schizophrenia means. People make jokes about it, like Kurt Cobain POV. That joke's hilarious to me. Sometimes I say I'm about to Hemingway myself, and this one's for all my internet degenerates. Welp, that's it. You probably know what I'm talking about, and that's a little messed up. That's really messed up. Culture has attempted to desensitize people to the concept of mental health treatment and that people have serious issues. And while I think it's like trying, I don't think it's actually worked. Like, we've made ADHD, autism, and I'd say bipolar very, very knowable for anyone online. Anyone's like, yes, I've heard of these. I know they're real, and I respect the people who have them because it can be a problem. And there's some people who are like, I don't care, and I'm gonna keep making fun of you for it. But I don't think that's the same. People making fun of it, that means you still acknowledge it. And so we've made people acknowledge that. And people know about suicide. And they say, go get a therapist. Go talk to a therapist. Men need to learn to cry. And they say it. They probably feel great saying it. But I don't think it's really doing anything. It took me forever to get a therapist. And I have other issues other than amazing depression. I know it's great. But it's just not real yet. Mental health still is not really a priority. And I don't exactly blame culture for that. I don't know how it is in literally every other country. And I'm about to talk about two, and I only really know about one. So let's start with the one I don't know a lot about. Japan. I don't know what their suicide rates were like back before World War II. But after we increased the death rate by like 30,000 twice, their culture kind of changed. Japan is a powerhouse. And a lot of really good artistic people come out of Japan. And I think, this is a separate little fun thought I had that I shared with my buddy Dylan. Shout out Dylan, great guy, likely getting me a job. Japan and America have two different thoughts. They both make great artists. Great artists come from everywhere. But like, I would say the really gangbuster artists, the ones that go like all the way up, mostly are American or Japanese. American culture is the opposite of Japanese culture, I would say. American culture is, you can be amazing. You can do all of the things you want to do. You can be that guy. But we're not going to push you. You have to push yourself. All right? Make your own way. Clear a path. When you do it, you'll be amazing. And we have substantially less like artists, I'd say. Because like Japan is just pumping out manga. And we have way more people in America than they do in Japan. I don't know if that's true. You know what? I'm not going to cut this out. How about got this for Christmas. Sucker is actually the best. Using my leg as a mouse pad. America population 33.3 million. Did we go down by a lot? I think we were at 350 at one point. Where did 20 million people go? Okay, yeah. So we have at least twice Japan, almost 3 times Japan's population. But Japan. Oh wait, I should probably bring my microphone up here. Let me get this. So roughly, we have 3 times Japan's population. Not really, because 3 times 125 million would be 375 million. We have 333. So I guess just a little bit more than double Japan's. You know, what's like 70 million people? That's nothing. That's chump change for a guy like me. But they have a lot more big artists, you know, like mangaka. Because there's Akira Toriyama, you know, the GOAT. There's Oda. There's Araki. Those three made 3 giant, Akira, the biggest one there, made giant properties. But then there's also millions of little animes that no one has ever seen. I watched an anime when I was a really little kid called Baka no Test, and it was hilarious. And to this point, I've never met anyone who's seen it. And I loved it. They have way more animations, way more manga, more artists. And that's because, whole tangent, this is who I am as a person. Have a conversation with me. It'll not be fun. Japan's culture is we're going to work the crap out of you. All right? There might be greatness in you. And if that's the case, you're going to have to peter off. But we're going to beat the crap out of you so you're good at something. And that's the opposite between America and Japan. Which likely, what's the other way I say this? America's system is at the expense of making more artists. But Japan's system is at the expense of the artists. That's why Japan has a higher suicide rate than America. But I haven't even covered America. I just know Japan has a killer work culture. And I do mean killer. I mean it literally. Then there's America, which, welcome to the tangent, buddy. All right? All right, you can sit down right there. We're going to have a fun little conversation. America, I do know the problems of. Cost of living is ridiculous here. Education is expensive. Homes are expensive. Food is expensive. You can still kind of get an all right car at an all right price. Even though I think my car is not worth what I paid for it. But shout out my uncle for getting me a good price on it. America's in financial straits. Except the rich people. They're doing great. Shout out my parents. It's really easy also here. Well, no, I'm going to say everywhere because of Instagram, which I was banned from a while ago. So don't go looking for me. I make a new one for Twitch and talking about my book, but you know, what are you going to do? what was the point of saying all that? Oh, yeah. At least in America, and this is true everywhere, but I think it's very true in America and all Western countries. It's really easy to feel like you're not enough, to feel like you're just basic. I've had self-hatred issues for a long time before I ever got into social media. So I was already doomed to fail there. But I know a lot of people get self-hatred from social media, like women, because all the pretty girls on Instagram only post their best pictures. And then a girl sees that and they're like, oh, so from my perspective, they look like that all the time, so I'm ugly. And then for a lot of men, it's and Andrew Tate, the supercar, or Jeff Bezos, looking like an actual goblin. Your eyes are weird, Jeff. So is your body. Stop taking testosterone. Just be fat. It's all right. I don't support, I don't tell people to be fat, but it's all right, Jeff. You have enough, dude. They see people with better finances. And right now, due to the red pill like push in culture, men are very focused on money. Like, I would say, no, probably not above normally. That's probably always been a big thing for dudes. Oh, yeah, because back in the day, women weren't expected to work because, firstly, economy was better. Secondly, sexism. I don't know if you've heard of it. But, yeah, okay, that's probably just been a constant then, but now it's like being hyper. I don't know. Men see other successful men. They see men doing things that they're not capable of. Like, you look at Hafthor. That dude is 6'9", and he's one of the strongest men in the world. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm fat and weak. And then you see Jeff Bezos, and you're like, dude, when we eat the rich, you're first. I can't ever make that much money. And that's how you get tricked into the manosphere, which don't get into that. It's bad for you, and you'll be stupider for it. And all this just makes you feel like you're not enough. You can't be enough. Of course you can't. Look at all these people. And then you can't get a job because a lot of places have fake job listings. I imagine get you a tax break, but I don't know. So you can't get a job. You're not attractive, according to the internet. You don't have any money. You can't afford your apartment. Your car payments are too much. You can't afford good food. All this just gets in your head. Got in my head like, say, a week and a half ago. Week and a half ago, I was gonna go buy a rope. I know, not very creative. I was gonna do something that I would regret for the rest of my life. You get it? Cause yeah, it's a real Debbie Downer right there. I felt the mood go down, dude, and I'm the one making a video. You're just the one watching it. How do you think I feel? I just said that out loud. I had to re-acknowledge it. Not everything's about you, Greg. I pray to God some dude named Greg is watching this. All of this compounds. And then it just seems like, well, maybe I'll be remembered better, more fondly, as a martyr. That's where I think the romanticism actually comes in. If you're an artist like me, then killing yourself is a way to be remembered as a tortured artist. If you're a normal guy, then you're a martyr against a broken system. By guy, I mean anyone. General phrase. Then if you're a loner, then you just feel like, well, no one will notice because there's all these fantastic people out there. You know? It's all these rich, famous people, you know. And if you're a loner, you probably don't think great things about yourself. So you're like, whatever. Everyone else will get past it. And that's tough. That's not easy. That's not an easy good thing. Well, it's easy. It's really easy. I didn't have this on my little list. You know what? I'll talk about that at the end. Let's keep going. So everyone, people are thinking like this. At least 700,000 people are thinking like this per year. Because that's how many people we lose. And what is that to, 8 billion? What is that to 8 billion? I'll tell you what it is. It's 700,000 people. That's for all my utilitarians or realists that could really use a bit of a humanist approach. 700,000 people kill themselves a year. And only like 5,000 of those are just the CIA killing people and pretending that they're suicides. I had to. I'm sorry. We're losing a lot of people a year. And it feels like we aren't trying to attack the cause, you know? Feels like we just want people to go to therapy, which I want, but therapy's expensive. I reduced how much I was going to therapy because of the price, to my detriment. And now I'm just not going because of the price, to my detriment. 50,000 Americans do it a year, roughly. It's more like 49,500. I rounded it up for my numbers. And those ones I can understand because I know what it's like living in America right now. But 21,000 in Japan. That is half the amount in America. About, 49, what, 2, that'd be like 20, like 24, something. They have 21, and they have like a third of our population. That one I can't understand, but I can feel. I feel like there's still a taboo about it. I remember my parents seemed to never want me to talk about. I think they do now. I think they're more okay with it now because they grew as people. A reminder that parents are people too. They can grow and they can make mistakes, and that's okay. But when I was younger, they didn't want me to talk about like the things that were wrong with me. It's like they were shying away from the fact that I'm a little monkey man, all right? I got some silly issues. And I appreciate that they didn't tell anyone when I was in a mental hospital. But I kind of wish people knew. I want people to know. I want people to know that I'm not okay, man. And it is okay to not be okay. That's that's from some clothing brand. Thanks for that, by the way. Thanks for taking that and making it your brand message. It's like that shirt that has the entirety of Kurt Cobain's suicide note, handwritten by Courtney Love, who killed him. That's a joke. That's satire. Only because I can't prove it and I don't want to get sued. It seems like we still don't really care to fix it. And to be fair, fixing the entirety of America's financial situation is not going to be done. There's a few short fixes we can make. I'm not going to get political right now. Other than this, I think people need to realize the change you want to see in the government is not happening in your lifetime. You need to, it's the Ubermensch idea. Actually, not the Ubermensch idea. I've had that wrong my whole life. My older brother told me about it. I'll call it the betterment idea. You have to make the government better for the next generation, who will have to make it better for the next generation. It's not going to be a quick fix, but whatever. Another thing about the way we acknowledge it, something weird that I've noticed that happens with me, happened to my brother, happened to my dad, happened to quite a few people, is sometimes we respond to suicide with anger. Like, why? What? What is wrong with you? Do you know how selfish that is? And I used to try to use that as well. Because for some reason in our heads we're like, oh, I can guilt this person into not killing themselves, when guilt is what made me try to kill myself. Don't respond to suicide with anger. And it's hard because I remember my dad was so angry, but he didn't like yell at me. It's how he responded. It's how a lot of people respond to something scary and sudden. You got to take a note out of Stoic philosophy there. You have to learn to control that emotion. Because the people you meet, I guess this is like the advice section of the video. The people you meet, the people you know that are going to try suicide, they're going to be so scared if you're able to stop them. Or if they're going to do it and you're talking to them, they're scared. They're so scared. And being angry and responding with anger is not going to help. And responding with a guilt trip isn't going to help, though I see the logic behind it. You just got to be understanding. Which is harder by a lot. It's not easy to try to understand people. It's already not easy to do that, but when they're in like that mental state, it's even harder. But it's one of the only good solutions you got. This video became less and less structured as we went on. But that's fine. That's just who I am as a person. Maybe that's how I'll make videos. It's kind of how I'm making my book. It's tangential. Don't respond with anger or guilting. Respond with understanding. It's hard not to, some people have an ego, like me, and pity. If you feel like you're being pitied, that can also not help. I don't have advice on that one, though. That one's a little harder to, like, find a solution to. Because no one wants to be pitied. Yeah, how you like that? The directions just changed. I'm going to not do that, actually. It's probably bad for the video. You have to respond with empathy. Because you can help. With the financial stuff, maybe you can't, like, save them. And maybe you can't even support them. However, like, if you got a suicidal friend who just got kicked out of their apartment, maybe just give them the couch or something. It's easy to help. It's hard to fix it, but it's not your job to fix it. You're not responsible to fix people. You just should help them. And if you're struggling with suicide and you're on this video, reach out. If you're just in a dark place right now, reach out. Statistically, you got someone that cares about you. Someone will always miss you when you're gone. Reach out. And that goes for the people who want to help too. Reach out. Hands got to go both ways in that situation. Grab on. All right. I think that's everything I wanted to say. I could do the normal spiel that like YouTubers do. I'd like a subscribe, but it feels weird to ask someone to like this video. Just sit with this video. Think about what I said. Put it in your brain hole, you know? Thank you for your time. I'm Ashton, or Ferris. I'll stream a lot more than I'll make videos, and I think this thing's running out of battery. Come on, sucker. And most of my videos are going to be, like, just Twitch VODs anyway, so. Thanks for watching. Hey, real quick editor's note. After talking about it and reviewing it with a couple of my friends, we all thought it might be fun for me to do an actual full video sometime where, you know, I actually research the topic more instead of it just being a rant. So I'll probably come out with something like that in the future. Don't really have a timeline. I just kind of do stuff sporadically. Book's gotta come out eventually, right? So until then, see ya.